Okay, so this is a video preview for my new drum sequencer for the Monome or Monome emulation. I try to make it quick. Here we have a grid where you can set steps. Here it's a bit like the push. Actually, here you have the drum sounds. Here you can set different parts. We will come to this later. And here we have many different extra functions. And on this 8 knobs, you have a MIDI MLR, you have part sequencer. You can actually control audio effects directly and bind them to the parts, so that when you play one part, a specific audio effect is on, and when you play another one, another audio effect is on. You can mute sounds, you can record, you can change the speed of each of the patterns behind the drum sounds. You can change the length of the pattern and stuff like this. I will show you as soon as we come to it. First of all, I want you to explain what is important. First of all, we have drum pads. Behind each drum pad there's a pattern. Alright? Drum pads, patterns. Then we have parts. There are 8 parts you have here, and then you have 8 banks, so there are 64 parts. So each of the drum pads can have 64 different patterns. Yeah, that's mainly it. Drum pads, patterns, parts and banks. Just for the future it will be important. There will be something like a part mixer, and it will be important to understand there are drum pads, there are parts, there are banks, and there are patterns behind each of the drum pads. There can be a pattern. So let's set a pattern for the bass drum. And let's see what you can do. Here, if we press the drum pad, you have here 4 lines you can edit. So you press it and you hold it. First line is the sound. Each of the drum pads has 8 sounds behind. You can also select more than one, and then it will randomize, which doesn't make so much sense maybe for bass drum, but for other things, for example, if we make some kind of percussion instrument. So this is not so bad. What do we have on the next line? There's one. On the next line, now I press again the bass drum. On the next line we have the velocity. So this will change the velocity for the whole sequence. All of the steps will be played in with this velocity. You can also press one, hold another, and then you create a range, and within this range it will be randomized. Each time it plays now, it will be randomized between, I think this is 100, 127, so it will be randomized between, and you can also of course randomize it completely between 0 and, or you can, whatever, you can set. This will be, all of this will be saved in parts, so if you go to another part and go back, it will stay like this, of course. So the next thing is probability. So if we put this here, the probability of all of the sounds to play when there actually is there, it's quite low, which doesn't make either so much sense for a bass drum. But for example, if we have a snare drum and we now put the probability a bit low, especially for this loop, it's quite nice. Okay, so it's probability. The last thing I will explain probably later, it's a copy and paste thing where you can actually copy. Let me explain it now. So I go now to the snare. I hold the snare. Now the first 4 knobs here are the first 4 lines here. So this is the 1 line, 2nd line, 3rd line, 4th line. So if I press this, I kind of I set this line. Now if these are the 4 knobs. So if I press now this one, what actually happens, I copied this to here. Now it doesn't work, why not? Okay, so let's delete it again. So this is a copy and paste function, which is actually, if once you get used to it, it's quite simple. You choose the line, you choose the knob you want to copy from, and it always copies to the one you're holding. So again, alright, it doesn't make sense either in this situation, but you can probably imagine that there are other situations. Okay, so now let's have a look. But you can do also with the steps. When you hold the steps, you have the same thing. So when you can choose a sound. For example, each snare drum could be another sound. Or we can make them in this situation. I can also show you that if you hold one and press another, you create a range here of steps, and everything you do now will happen to all of those steps. You can see now they are all one sound, all another sound. Now let's randomize velocity, make the probability a bit lower. Probably a bit higher. Okay, so the nice thing is, if you press something which is off and you edit, it will go on. If you press something which is already on and you edit it, it will stay on, so you don't have to actually press it again. Yeah, okay, that's sound. Then here you have the same thing, like the velocity just for the sound, and the probability just for the sound. And the velocity, again, you can set a range where it randomizes, which means every time this is playing, it will be in a randomized velocity within this range. Okay? So this is it for the lowest I didn't show yet. This lowest is not yet set, but there will be MIDI effects in it. So you have like things, for example, if you play this, this step will be played like in 128 speed or something. Let's see, I have some ideas about it, I just didn't set them yet. Okay, so let's go to the parts. If you see that this one is blinking, now if you press another part, you come to the edited parts. So you now actually what is happening, this part is playing and edited at the same time. If you press one thing which is already solid, which is already added. If I press it again, it will change, but it will change within, it will like quantize, there's 1 bar quantization. And as you can hear, the sounds and everything can be completely different. For each part. There are also bangs, which I will show you later how to reach them. This is so far. Let's do another. Now let me show you those knobs. First knob is mainly a mood knob. So if you hold this and you press one of those things, it will mood. It's also, again, it's only happening for in the part. So if you go here, things are not mooted. It's saved with the part. So now, if you press it again, you see which one is mooted here, right? And you can unmute it. It's just a way to quickly perform a bit with the things, or you can copy and paste and mood sounds and stuff like this. Okay, this is the mood part. I think there's nothing else behind this knob yet. There will be later probably. So now this is the delete part, where you, if you press it and you press something here, a drum pad, it will be deleted. Okay, and also you can delete the whole part, which I don't do now. If you press here, you delete the whole part, not only one pattern in the part, right? The whole part. Then you have here 2 knobs. If you press this, you come to a page where you have all the 64 parts, and you can just, I think we play this, you can just play all of them. If you later have, I don't know how many parts set, you can change here between them, and that's again quantized. You get out of it with this blinking thing. So there was another one, so we press again this button. It looks the same, but it's a copy and paste thing. So if I now hold this and set this, I have copied part 1 to part 4. I can also hold and set many. Now from part 4 to part 8, there should be all of them the same sound. Let's see. Yeah, sounds quite right. I have copied it to all of those parts, and now I can do things, for example, well, one thing we already know, it's like we can mute. Okay, so this was the mute, this was this knob. Let's see what is the next one. Here you can set, here you have like mainly you can set the, down here you can set the bangs, which so if we now go to bang 2 and play something here, there's something else on it. Okay, bang 3 is empty. So here you have the bangs, right? Now let's go back to bang 1 and play our little rhythm. This what is here explain later, okay? But this one is quite important still. This is the speed of the sound you can change here. Now I have here a hi-hat, which goes together with the snare always. If I make it now 16ths, right. I can also do it like triplets. Maybe. It's quite cool. I can also change the length here by just holding this knob and I can, this is quite cool, and I can set if it should downbeats sync after a while. If I press this, it will not sound downbeat sync, it will just keep on going. In fact, if it is lit, it will downbeat sync at the point where you can set this in the app itself when it downbeat sync, like it can sync every bar, every second, every 8 and so on. Okay, yeah, you have 8, 16, 32s, you have here 8 triplet and 16 triplet. These are the 5 speeds you have available. And you also can copy and paste here in a simple way. You just hold this, press one part, press another part, and it's copied. And you can see even the triplets and this and made with a completely different length. It is always nicely in sync. Let's set here. This took me some time, to be honest, to make it that it keeps staying in sync. Alright, did I forget anything? Well, they are down here, there are different things. I'm afraid I'm not going to show you in this video. I can show you just well, I'll show you later in another video. Okay, so I think